In Seoul, Gangnam's elegance is our series backdrop. A teenage girl named Miray, who feels inferior to others, judges anyone she sees through Gangnam's lens of beauty standards. She gives each person a certain prescription of beauty. If those lips were fuller. Or, why can't he hide his tummy? These are a series of mathematical formulas going on in her little head. And without her knowing, it reflects badly on her image as well. So bad that now she is insecure and lacks confidence in her appearance. She thinks seriously about having plastic surgery on her face. But it all started with people around her. At school, she suffered from her peers ridiculing her. Those memories from her childhood when her friends used to criticize her for her obesity. They used to call her a rhinoceros, and that hurt her a lot. She faced a lot of bullying. One day, they even locked her down in the bathroom. So, she realized that she needed to stop all that and lose weight. And that's what happened. She became thin. Nonetheless, nothing could satisfy society. The students continued bullying and making fun of her, even though she was smart and the best one in the class in terms of academic achievement. This happens when we allow ourselves, unconsciously, to be fed with negative energies and wait for the RSVP, unknowingly, of society. It is all a psychological game, but because she was a teenager, she didn't delve any deeper. It was something that destroyed her, to where she wanted to commit suicide by falling off the bridge. But she retreated at the last moment. Days go by, and she is exposed to situations ranging from embarrassment to ridicule, belittlement, and so on. As an ordinary girl who likes a boy, one day she tells him about her feelings, but the instant reaction from him is, "Freak, you're not likable." After all those hurtful encounters in her life, she decides to undergo plastic surgery on her face. She opens her eyes widely at her makeover appearance and loves seeing her face in the mirror every minute possible. The time comes for the university, and everyone shows their admiration for her beauty. One of the boys can't help himself but proposes that he wants to be with her. However, she is not used to that kind of thing and reluctantly refuses him. She meets her new friends and finds a gorgeous girl named Suwa. Everyone admires her beauty, including Miray, who considers her the most beautiful face in the university. She grades her 10 out of 10, which is a silly thing to do. In the early days of the freshman students, the school holds an event for them to get to know each other, plus to get themselves into the culture of the university and its atmosphere. And as brave as ever, Kyung introduces himself. Gosh, Miray thinks, this is Kyung from the school days. She hunches down because she doesn't want him to recognize her and expose her secret, which is the surgery, to the students. Finally, her turn comes, and she smoothly introduces herself. The event comprises segments, and when there's dancing, Miray swiftly moves and grabs everybody's attention with her artistic steps. Would you believe that this girl's proactiveness was non-existent? But now at the moment, she is controlling the whole stage and showing off her talent. Her show is over, and everybody is applauding her. Upon that, she becomes emotional as finally she gets the acceptance she has been longing for. A senior student, Chan, comes closer to her and asks if they go somewhere where they can be alone. Taken by her good intentions, Miray agrees, and when they're away by themselves, Chan says how much he cares about her like nobody else does. How cunning and mischievous he is to say such a thing. The girl perceives something bizarre in the air and wants to leave. But he gets in her way out and locks the door. Fortunately for her, Kyung was watching over them. He kicks the door open at the right moment and saves her. After a while, he looks at her face and asks if she is the same Miray he has known since his school days. She wears an idiocy mask over her face, and why not since she doesn't want to answer him? Kyung gets no satisfying answer from her and leaves, but Miray remembers him perfectly. How could she forget the boy who got the title of the most handsome one in the entire school? A day comes for the parents' assembly for the sake of the freshman students. Kyung's father, an influential man who is not very close to his son, attends the gathering as well. And so does Miray's father. But the irony is that he encounters his daughter and doesn't recognize her. He asks Miray whether she knows his daughter's whereabouts. She tells him she is his daughter. He looks at her face and contemplates the features. But wait a minute. It's her voice. Shocked and sad about what his daughter has done to her facial identity, he abruptly leaves. With hurried steps, Miray stops him and says, "I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you because I knew you'd say no to me, but I needed it because of the bullying I was receiving from my friends." He grants her the silent treatment. This is a father-daughter conflict, but Miray wants to live a normal life and get herself mingled with the others. And once again, Chan wants to befriend her. He approaches her during the break time. For God's sake, why don't some people get it? And the sweet Miray doesn't have what it takes to stop him, but one definite and viable excuse: nature call. She wants to gather her strength to reject him. Shua ventures in and tells Chan that she is available. Instead, she says that he seems interested in Miray. "Oh no, you misinterpreted an ordinary talk," he says, and grabs her by the wrist and tells her he's all into her friendship and that Miray isn't, and won't be forever the girl he wants to hang out with. On his way out, he stumbles and falls to the ground. Kyung trips him with his leg. That happened, surely, on purpose. The man wants to pay Kyung back twofold, but he gets into more trouble. Next time, one better chooses the right battlefield for themselves. Shua, the attention seeker for whatever disorder underlines her character. The word chameleon comes to mind when describing similar personalities. She goes to Miray, pretending that she wants to check on her, asking what has happened between Chan and Kyung in the cafeteria. Miray believes that she's an angel. She opens up and wants to make her a close friend. They go back to the university, where all the new students are divided into random groups. Miray, Shua, and Kyung are in the same group, and Miray is appointed as the leader of the three of them. When the lecture is over, the assistant professor, Woo Young, confides in his fellow students that he likes Miray. Shua wants to break the ice and start a conversation with Kyung. However, he wants to keep the distance as it is, if not more. He doesn't like her and just gives her a cold shoulder, leaving her with disappointment. On the pretext of giving her the perfume back, Kyung goes to Miray. His question still stands whether she is the old days Miray. "I give up." This comes into her thoughts, as there is no escape from telling the truth. So she says yes, she is the old Miray. However, she wants her little secret just between them. Nobody else should know about her identity before the surgery. He confirms that he won't do anything to harm her feelings. At night, the freshman students gather to have a good time and ask random questions out of fun. And when they ask Shua if her beauty is natural, she replies that she has never undergone plastic surgery in her life. Maliciously, she adds that Miray's beauty is natural as well. She is up to embarrass her. Kyung, who doesn't like her question, tells Shua she's this kind of serpent slithers around its prey, and she doesn't have to be mean to the extent where she humiliates an innocent girl. On the spot, Shua cries and affirms her good intentions and that she doesn't mean any sort of harm. She rushes out crying. Miray scolds Kyung for what he did because Shua is, indeed, her friend. He replies that all he knows is that she is mean and not kind at all. And because of this little incident, the gathering is spoiled and everyone goes back to their homes. Outside, Shua rages with anger at Miray, and Chen joined her and tells her he left Miray for her sake. After thinking of a wicked plan, she replies saying that because her friend Miray loves him, she cannot be with him. Chan goes straight to Miray and tells her it is impossible for him to like a woman such as herself, that she should go back where she belongs, certainly not around him. He does this only because he wants Shua. Couldn't take the insult, Miray slaps him in the face out of boiling anger. Then she wanders around, alone and sad. Woo comes along. He wants to comfort her and offers her a bottle of water. Flashbacks of how Chan started all this offering her a bottle of water. She throws the bottle away. Perhaps that eases her pain. Kyung, who is always near her, asks the man to leave her alone, and then he holds her hand. But Miray pushes him away and says that she doesn't want anyone. She leaves the two of them. Something suspicious about Suah. She asks some of her friends to drop her off at a luxurious place, not hers. Seems like she's pretending something doesn't belong to her true self. Miray is completely devastated, and she meets an old friend of hers in the restaurant. Oh boy. She cries a lot and relieves what is inside her. All she wanted was to live like the other girls, but what happens to her is something that is beyond her tolerance. The following day, as a senior student, Chan gathers all the freshman students and asks them to leave, except Miray. He wants to take revenge on her and forces her to apologize. So he slaps her with all his might. The poor girl falls to the ground. Here comes Kyung, who fights for Miray. Suah meets Miray and apologizes to her. She says she was the reason behind what happened to her, explaining how Chan came to her earlier and asked for her friendship, but she refused him. Then she viciously says that Kyung bodyguards her wherever she steps. It's a sign of liking her. Whatever she thinks, Miray discerns a surge of blood rushing onto her face and says it's because they were students at the same school. Oh no, did she yet unintentionally uncover her secret? Yes, sure she did. In Woo Young's office, he looks angrily at Chan and threatens him not to harm any of the students, especially Miray. Otherwise, he will be expelled from the university. As for Miray and Kyung, their friendship strengthens and becomes more profound, especially when he stands by her several times. And as friends, they recall how he too used to bully her at school. One of the funniest times of Suah's jealousy is when they have a lab activity. Miray, mistakenly, gets herself injured and everyone turns to her, worried. But Suah, who loves attracting attention, claims Miray spilled acid over her. She wants all the necks to turn to her. But that doesn't last long. And Kyung does not take his eyes off Miray. One glamorous night, Miray attends a perfume launch event where she meets the director of the sponsor company. They get to know each other immediately because she is the woman who saved her on the day she wanted to commit suicide. They talk and learn about their mutual interest in studying chemistry because of their passion for perfumes. Their night extends to a restaurant talk, eat, drink, and enjoy. And by chance, Kyung is there because it is his friend's restaurant. He finds Miray and is shocked that she is with his mother, the director of the company. He becomes furious when he sees her. She's the one who abandoned him and his sister when they were much younger. The next day, the mother calls Miray, knowing she is her son's friend. She asks her to convince him to meet her. Miray wants to help them both and agrees to what she asks of her. At night, when Miray and her friend are walking, a little boy comes after them. After a brief street chase, the police take them all in and then call Miray's father, who rushes out to see what his daughter's business is with the police. He then takes her back home. The next day, Miray suggests to Kyung to hang out together. He happily agrees, and while they are eating, she asks him to reconsider meeting his mother and to at least listen to what she says. But he refuses and inquires not to talk about his mother ever again. She shuts her mouth. And that same mouth opens up again, but this time with memories from their past together. She reminds him he also used to laugh at her. He says that he had never laughed at her. Probably, she made him laugh, but in a good way, which is miles away from bullying. The lapse of many days, and Miray becomes attracted to Kyung. But she wants to cut herself loose from any commitment because she does not want to fall in love with him. She knows it will be a one-sided love. Certainly, the most handsome man at the university will not love her, no matter what. When Woo is looking for a place to rent in Miray's area, her friend offers to help in searching for an apartment. Woo invites her over for dinner. She agrees and brings Miray with her. On Kyung's side, his dad is thinking constantly about his ex-wife. The more he pushes the thought of her away, the stronger it bounces back. especially now that she is back in Korea. The matter is depressing for Kyung, and he doesn't want to think more about her. So, at his friend's restaurant, he finds Miray dining with Woo. Jealousy stirs up his blood. He heads straight to their table and sits down. Woo invites the girls over to his home in Miray's neighborhood. "He's not gonna invite me," Kyung thinks while looking at him with puppy eyes, and Woo shrugs his shoulders and says, "You're invited too." The next morning, the chemistry department has an open day, and everyone prepares delicious dishes. But who do you think will be the hostess of the day? Yeah, no one other than our beauties, Miray, Shua, and a third girl from the department. At the party, Shua invited a friend from Miray's school who is the student to whom Miray confessed her first love in the past. Yet, if we remember, he rudely responded to her. Miray's name rings a bell in his mind, but he can't say anything. However, Shua says that Miray is the same one from his school. Oh yeah, he remembers now. He says that he knew a mutant girl named Miray. But does he think that Miray is gonna remain silent this time? She, by now, doesn't allow anyone to belittle her. Yes, not anymore. After Miray's friend learns Shua has brought the boy in a sinister plan to further humiliate her, only then, Miray believes Shua is not her good friend, but only a vicious rival. On the following day, the freshman students gather and chit-chat, and Kyung points at Miray, showing that he wants her. Accidentally, Miray spills the lemonade on herself, and when she intends to go to the bathroom to clean herself up, both Kyung and Shua want to go along with her. Now, after knowing that Shua wishes ill for her, she chooses Kyung. Miray learns that Kyung's mother has been admitted to the hospital because of food poisoning, and sends a message to Kyung sharing her location and room number. He visits his mom, and upon reaching, he overhears her talk with her assistant. His father lied to him about his mother's affair with the assistant, but now, he gets to know that after her divorce, she didn't love anyone. Kyung confronts his father about the lies he's been hearing all his life, and his father responds that once he hit her because she refused to leave her job, and ever since she lost her ability to smell things, and out of despair, she left them for good. Kyung can't believe his ears, and he can't take it anymore with his dad. So much unbearable pain buzzes in his chest. He decides to strike the pain off his chest and goes to Woo's dinner party. There, he notices Miray is interested in Woo's tendency to save money and comes forward telling them an anecdote about his awareness of economic matters. The night goes on well and serene. However, upon learning that his father has frozen his credit cards and bank account, Kyung becomes upset. This is the bad side. But the relieving happy side is what's between him and Miray. It sure is more than friendship. However, she wants to ignore the feeling. Even if it is certain by now, she can't pretend anymore. And Kyung wants to spend more time with his sweetheart. Once he learns Woo is her neighbor, he asks him to be his roommate, sharing the rent and the other expenses. The plot is getting tangled and deepened into the reflection of the beauty standards created by certain societies and the acceptance-rejection one undergoes. More is yet to come with the coming episodes. Stay tuned.